I want you to picture something. You are standing in a bridal suite. Your dress is on, your hair is done, your hands are steady, and somewhere in the building, 200 people are waiting for you to walk through those doors. That was me, 3 years ago, on what was supposed to be the best day of my life. But 30 minutes before I walked down the aisle, my maid of honor walked into that room with a look on her face I will never forget for the rest of my life. She closed the door behind her.
I need to tell you
sat down
something.
next to me.
I should
took
have
my
said it
hand,
earlier.
and said 4 words.
I can't let you go through with
Sarah.
this.
I need to talk. My name is Sarah. I am 34 years old. I live in a small city in Ohio. And this is the story of the day I almost married a man who had been lying to me for 2 years straight. His name was Daniel. We met at a work conference in Chicago. He was charming, funny, the kind of man who remembered small details. Your coffee order, your mother's birthday, the name of your childhood dog. I fell for him fast, most people do with men like Daniel. We dated for 18 months before he proposed. It was beautiful. Rooftop restaurant, my favorite flowers, a ring I had quietly pointed at in a window 6 months earlier. He'd been paying attention, or so I thought. I said yes without hesitating. The wedding planning took another year. 200 guests. A venue outside the city. A dress I cried in when I first tried it on. I poured everything into that day, every detail, every centerpiece, every song choice. What I did not know, what I had no idea about, was that the entire time Daniel had been seeing someone else. Her name was Melissa, and she worked in his office. I want to tell you how I found out, because it did not happen the way these things usually happen. There was no suspicious text I stumbled across, no late-night phone call, no lipstick on a collar. I found out because of a seating chart. The week before the wedding, Daniel had taken over the final guest lists, coordination. He said I was stressed enough. He said he wanted to help. I thought it was the kindest thing. I thanked him. I kissed him on the cheek and told him I was lucky. That same week, my maid of honor, Caitlin, was helping with last-minute logistics at the venue. She was cross-checking the printed seating charts against the final guest list. And there it was, table 1, front row, Melissa R. Caitlin. Did not know who Melissa was at first. She noticed the name was not on any version of the guest list she'd seen before, so she looked her up. What she found was a Facebook profile. Public, full of photos of Melissa and Daniel at dinner, at a weekend trip upstate, at a concert I had bought him tickets to, that he told me he went to with his colleague Mark. Caitlin stood in that venue hallway, alone, holding her phone, for 10 minutes, before she drove to the bridal suite. I remember the exact feeling when she showed me her phone. It was not rage, not yet. It was something quieter, something cold, and very, very clear. Like a fog lifting, I sat in that bridal suite for 4 minutes without saying a word. Caitlin held my hand. She said whatever I decided, she was with me. We could stop everything right now. We could walk out the back door and never look back. I looked at myself in that mirror. Full wedding makeup. Veil pinned perfectly. 200 people in the next room. And I made a decision that Caitlin did not expect. I said, "We are not stopping anything." I am not a dramatic person by nature. I was raised by a woman who believed that your sharpest response to betrayal is not anger. It is strategy. In those 4 minutes, I did not fall apart. I planned. I picked up my phone and I made 3 calls. The first was to my cousin James, a family law attorney. I told him everything in under 2 minutes. He told me exactly what I needed to do. The second was to the venue coordinator, Helen, who I had worked with for 11 months. I told her I needed one specific thing added to the reception program. She went silent for a moment, then said, "I will take care of it." The third call was to my father. I told him what happened, what I was going to do. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "That is my daughter." I walked down that aisle at exactly 3 o'clock. I looked straight ahead the entire time. I did not look at Melissa in the front row, in her green dress. I did not look at Daniel's face when I reached the altar, though I could see he was smiling. The ceremony proceeded normally all the way to the vows. When it was my turn, I reached out and took both of his hands. I looked him directly in the eyes, and I said, "Daniel." I had a whole speech prepared. I spent 3 weeks writing it, but this morning I found out some things that have changed what I need to say. The room went still, the way rooms go still when 200 people simultaneously stop breathing. Daniel's smile did not disappear immediately. It held for about 3 seconds, then it began to dissolve, slowly, like ice in warm water. I found out about Melissa. I found out about the hotel in October, the trip to Vermont, and I found out that you invited her here today, to our wedding, and seated her at table 1, so she could watch you marry me. I am not going to marry you today. I released his hands, turned to the 200 people sitting in complete silence. I am so sorry that you came here today for this. Please stay for the reception. Everything is paid for. The food is incredible. The bar is open. I looked at Melissa in the front row. You are welcome to leave. The room went silent. And then a low sound began building that I eventually realized was applause. Daniel tried to speak. My father stepped forward and said something quietly to him. Daniel went very still. I walked back down that aisle in my wedding dress, through the main doors, and out into the afternoon sun. Caitlin was right behind me. The reception happened, exactly as I said it would. People ate. People drank. The band played. I changed into the sundress I had packed for the honeymoon. I came back. I danced. I cut the cake with Caitlin. Daniel was not there. Melissa had left before the ceremony even ended. At some point, my cousin James found me on the dance floor. He handed me a glass of champagne. He said, "I filed the paperwork this afternoon. Because you were never legally married, the process is simpler than you think. Everything you brought in stays with you." I will tell you what those words felt like. They felt like putting down something very heavy that you had been carrying for so long, you had stopped noticing the weight. It has been 3 years since that day. 6 months after, I was promoted. A promotion Daniel had been quietly trying to block. With him gone, that conversation never happened. 8 months after, I started seeing someone new. A quiet man who asks good questions and means what he says. A man who has never once made me feel like I need to check his phone. 14 months after, I bought my own apartment. The first home I have ever owned completely alone. I painted the kitchen yellow, which Daniel always said was a terrible idea. 2 weeks ago, I received a message from a woman named Patricia. She said she had been in a relationship with Daniel for 8 months. I called her back the same day. I told her everything. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "I think I needed to hear this." I said, "I know. I needed someone to tell me too." To anyone listening right now who is somewhere in the middle of their own version of this story, the moment I let go of his hands was the most powerful moment of my life. not because of the audience, not because of what he lost, but because of what I chose. I chose myself. In a room full of flowers and candles and 200 witnesses, I chose myself. Whatever room you are standing in right now, you can do that too. There's only the moment you decide.